It's so easy to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. But today, astronumerology reveals how you can be in the right place at the right time, all by using your numerology. Today, astronumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn shares how he uses numerology in his everyday life and what you can do to bring about success by using numerology in your day to day life. Hello, Lloyd. How you doing?
Fine. Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. How's December going for you so far?
So far, so good. So far, so good. We're about at the halfway point and about to wrap up the year 2024. It's been an incredible 360 odd days with all kinds of things going on. So it's a interesting wrap up. Looking forward to 2025.
Maybe it's just me, but does it seem like these months seem like about 1 week long or something?
That is when there's a process. When we are babies, it seems like it takes for Christmas forever and a day to get here. Then as we become adults and as we reach the other side of the life, seem like wasn't Christmas just here 2 months ago? You know?
Yeah,
So it's kind
I
of like
remember.
that.
I remember in school, it seemed like the Christmas break seemed so long. Like when you went back to school, you hardly recognized anybody, but now the children are out of school for a couple of days and it's right back in.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, things
So
change.
time has a reference. So when they say times go by when you're having fun, that is true. To give a perfect example, if you were to look and stare at the clock for a minute, seem like it would take forever and a day for that minute to get here. But soon as you turn around, next thing you know, 2 minutes has gone by. So it all depends on the attention.
Well, I need to stop having so much fun then.
I agree. This has been a very busy, fun-filled, packed year, and it's gone by quickly. It's
It
gone by
had.
quickly. So you know, and it takes a lot to do nothing too. Try to do nothing, but when you're busy, you know it, it it's it's just a process. I guess it's a process of the time of life or whatever the case is.
Yeah. And today's going to be a little bit different. Today, we're not going to have a forecast, but we are going to give you all some helpful information. Lloyd, the first thing I want to do is, you know, welcome you back to Astro-Numerology Reveal. I don't know why I keep doing that because it's like you're at home anyway.
I do feel at
But
home, and thank you.
welcome back. And I just want to say thank you so much for joining me on this platform. It's such an honor. Today, we're going to do something very different, even for you, because I'm going to surprise you with some questions that you're probably not expecting today. But before we get started, the first thing I usually do on Astro Numerology Reveal is to ask the guest what numerology, or in your case, what does astronumerology mean to you?
Astronumerology is the perfect marriage or blend or synergy between the ancient world of astrology and the ancient world of numerology. Astrology deals with the more planetary astrological side of the equation, where numerology, of course, deals with the more spiritual, occult, and metaphysical side of numbers. And so when you marry these two, and it was because of getting into astronumerology that I understood all Leos aren't the same, all Geminis aren't two faced, all Cancers aren't pushovers. You know what I'm saying? Because once you understand and add the birth numbers to it, it, what I call it, modify or change it. And so that's what makes the difference. But they're both ancient sciences. And in fact, numerology came before astrology. If you look at the process of what it takes for an astrologer to do your chart, they need 5 pieces of numerical information: the month, the day, the year you're born, that's 3, the time you're born, that's 4, and the location, which we now call in 21st century the GPS. Where would the stars align on the day you were born?
You know, since you said that, there's another question that I want to ask you that I've
You
never.
never run out of questions. Every time we do this. How many times we've done this?
I have a list, okay? It's all in the book. I have a list.
Okay, go ahead.
So, what made you go with astro-numerologist versus just numerology?
Well, first of all, when I was coming up, the popular thing was astrology. Numerology had always been there, but it hadn't hit my consciousness. So I was just into astrology. But what numerology did was demystify that if you're this sign and that person is that sign and you ain't supposed to be together and they living together 40, 50 years, what's up with that? You know? So the classic case I give is Angela Bassett, a fire sign married to her husband, Courtney Vance, a water sign. Well, we know anytime you want to extinguish fire, you get water. But why is that so? But when I got into numerology, Angela Bassett is a fire sign with a water number, and Courtney Vance is a water sign, but with a fire number. And that explained those exceptions to the rules. That's whoever came with it, always exceptions to the rule. This is a case in point. But it helped me shape and mold the way I read people. So I'll say this person is a Leo 4 person. I'm describing the sign because we're all familiar with the sign, followed by I then describe the number which that person is born under. Or a person is a Sagittarius 8 person. So they are Sagittarius by sign, but they're 8 by number. And then when you combine those two together, it comes up with a nice montage of a description.
So, are you saying astronumerology is a way to get deeper into the characteristics and the personality of a person?
Yes, and that is my specialty. I think I'm one of the first really, you know how I don't want to put it like this, but I kind of help put astronumerology on the map. I'm sure that it has, or popularized it, I'll put it like that, because you were either an astrologer or you were a numerologist, but you were never both until I came on the scene.
Okay, so what I want to know is, we know that our birthday, it lets people know about who we are, our expression, our characteristics, our traits, the things we might like, the things we might not like. But also, we have to consider the fact that we are a part of a whole, meaning that we live in a physical reality. What I'm asking is, how do we blend who we are with our numbers with the reality that we live in, if that makes sense?
That is a very unique question, and that requires some thought, which I have. In this world that we live in, the world is inundated with numbers. From the time we get up in the morning, we look at to see what time it is, or who may have texted us, or who we need to call, or whatever it is from time to time. But what happens is when you understand your personal astrological and numerical frequencies, it then helps you be in alignment where you can be, as I like to say, in the right place at the right time and in harmony with the universe. And, so since time is one of those things like a tide that you can't force, you might as well go along with the tide rather than to go against the tide. And that's one of the things I learned as a numerologist. So I see the world totally different through my eyes. It's like, let's say you got a dentist, right? Well, he is trained to look at a person's mouth and teeth and can tell whether they need work or they need braces or whatever the case is. You go to a medical doctor, he'll look at those set of numbers to tell you, well, their pressure is high or low or something of that nature, or whatever the case is. But when I do it, I look at it from a more metaphysical, spiritual perspective, that they guide us because each number is assigned to it a day in the week, dates in the months, months in the years, years in the decades, and decades within the century.
There's one thing that I want you to explain. It's something that I heard before. If you can be in the wrong place at the wrong time, you can use numerology to help you be in the right place at the right time. Do you know who said that and what it means?
It sounds real for me. It seemed like I know the guy personally. that has always that has always been my motto. See, when you're coming up, they always say, man, they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Okay, which is normally not a good sign. And so I came up with this thing, but if you can be in the right place at the right time in harmony with the universe, why not? And numerology does that perfectly. I mean, it does it perfectly because numbers set the tone, it sets a frequency, and each frequency is assigned to a day, a date, a month, a year, decades, and stuff. It's just fascinating. I mean, really fascinating. And it tells quite a bit. So I get excited. I mean, people might say, uh, but you can't do anything without numbers. And I've challenged people since I've been doing this over the last 35, 40 plus years about, if you don't believe in numbers, send me your paycheck. I've never got a paycheck. So evidently, whoever got their numbers, they was looking at their numbers and say, well, brother, you ain't getting none of these numbers here. Okay. So listen, so I do know. But what I try to do, because I come out of a New York City, which is a very tough town, and you got to prove yourself every step of the way. When I do a person's birth date, I then get them involved with me. They got to get a pen and paper. I give them their angel numbers because, that's the new thing now. We got angel numbers. Everybody's had angel numbers ever since man walked the earth, really. We are just calling it that name now, 21st century. But then there are angelic days because each of the numbers are assigned to days in the week. And then there are angelic dates, angelic months, angelic years, angelic ages. So it's just absolutely fascinating. I've done probably seriously about tens of thousands of birthdays over the time I've done this, read all kinds of people. And yet the feedback I get from people is very awe-inspiring, is very flattering. And people say, if nothing else, is very accurate. Because if you count your monies, if it's $1 off, you're going to know. That's how accurate it is. 2 plus 2 is not 3 or 3.5, it's 4. So numbers are very exact. So once a person understands it from a metaphysical, spiritual, and occult way, then they can see.
Okay, let's just say that that person understands it from that point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And they say, this is something that I want to do on a daily basis. I want to live this out. I want to live in alignment with my numbers. Go step by step. First of all, what numbers should they be aligning with?
Well, in numerology, we'll go with that first. There is what is called the destiny, the life path, or the birth path number. These are interchangeable terms that they use, and it's simply meaning the month, the day, and the year when you add up the month, the day, and the year you're born. That single number, whichever the case is, indicates to the individual born on that month, day, and year their destiny or their path they must follow. What I've learned how to do, because I've been doing this so long and I'm always speaking numerology lingo, is that I have to remember that in every field, from banking to, mechanics, they got their own lingo. So the way I put it, the month, the day, and the year of a person indicates what grade they're in the school of life. Because everybody's familiar with that. What grade am I in? Why am I here? What am I here to learn? Well, the month, the day, and the year you're born. Now, that's long range, but it is actually your date of birth that's more short range and more immediate. So there are all kinds of numbers, from the birthday, this and that. You had the pinnacles, the challenges, there's a myriad, but to keep it simple, the month, day, and year represents the long range, where the date of birth represents the more short range and more immediate.
Okay, this is what I want to do, because I see that a lot of people say my life path is this, and they are speaking in reference to something that's happening throughout their daily life, or their lucky days or significant days, however, or your angel numbers, whatever you want to call them. Which one is the one that they should be looking at when they are determining how to use this on a daily basis?
It is their date of birth. Very
Okay.
simple. And once they establish their date of birth, the date of birth. So let's say you have somebody born on the 16th, well, 1 + 6 is 7. See, in numerology, once you get 2 or more numbers, you got to keep reducing until you get to one single digit, which is called the root number. So 7 is the root number of 16. 9 is the root number of 18. 22 is the root number of the 4. Okay. So once that is determined, then that sets you on the path to say, okay, so I'm a 7, that adds Monday. Another person who's a 4, that's Sunday. Another person who is a 9, that's Tuesday. So although you got 3 different numbers, you got 3 different days in the week. So let's say there was a partners. There's a partner of 3 people. One is on a 7, one is on a 9, one is on a 4, right? So if a person, let's say the lead team of these 3 is a 7, well, I'd assign Monday as the day that we're going to meet, guys. Let's say of this team, you have a person who's a number 9, and they're the team leader. Well, guys, Tuesday is going to be the best day for us to get together. You know what I'm saying? Or if you got a person on that same team that's a 4, guys, listen, we're going to do this on a Sunday. And that's how it works. Every day has been assigned to each of us. The more I got into this, the more I had a reverence for the Most High, for God. You know what I'm saying? To really understand that in his infinite wisdom, he has designed all of this. There's a reason why we're here. We all have to move over, since no one leaves this planet alive, okay? Not that I know of. I'm sure it ain't going to start with me. But the point is that while we are here to fulfill a purpose, a mission, a destiny, as it were. And it's what we do or don't do. Some people are blessed to find it. Then you have some people, unfortunately, that never finds it. And it's just, I guess I don't say it's unfortunate, but it to me would have been better had they found it. They would have sure their lives would have been happier. We then help humanity, and whatever the case is. And me being a humanitarian side, I've always been about helping humanity. That's one of my missions. I love helping people.
You know what? I know you're going to say that you already know, but what you just gave me so much information and so many ideas. First and foremost, I want to ask you, if towards the end of the video, if you don't mind going through 1 through 9 and talking about the rulership of those numbers.
It'll be a pleasure. It'll be a pleasure.
Okay.
And you know what?
And
I'm amazed because I said, you're not out of questions yet. Okay.
no. I told you it's a book. It's an internal book. But I thought about how nice it would be if everybody, by the time they finishes this video, they have their blueprint so that they can start planning every day according to their numerology. Now, the next question that I have is about the destiny number. We talked about the birthday number and how it is important for everyday living,
Hmm.
but when should we, or what factors should push us to use our destiny number? Or
You know, that's a great question. Actually, the destiny number comes as we get older. And when we're kids, you know what I'm saying? It's, you know, mom and dad, food, school, play with your kid. But as we begin to come of age, especially around our 21st, between our first 21st to 28, which is the solar return, as they call it, that's when we begin to find and discover what is our purpose. What do I want to do? What do I want to be? We then find our mates or future mates. We find our girlfriends, boyfriends. We develop our friends. You know what I'm saying? We also develop frenemies. We find our careers. I mean, it's a whole lot of things, and it's like the destiny is like getting on a train, Amtrak. Okay, 'cause everybody can relate to Amtrak, and we're going from north to south. Well, the key is for a person in whatever their destiny number is to know when to get off. If I'm a destiny number of a 9, I don't get off where a person's destiny number is a 2. That's their style. I got to get off on my style. You know what I'm saying? And once you do, this is why the train don't just go from here to there. It goes stops along the way. And these stops along the way, and this is when the person know when this is when I need to get off. This is when I need to continue, you know, because we all have a destination that we ought to arrive at. Now, we can get off sooner than that, but then if you're stranded and you have no one to help you or assist you, you know, so, but we all have a mission, we all have a purpose. And it used to be, at least with some things, nowadays, it's a lot of distractions and you know, a lot of just the program is totally different. And so instead of us trying to find out who we are, we seem to be focused on those people, those celebrities that ain't gonna pay your bills, that ain't gonna buy your food, that ain't gonna pay your car notes, your insurance. None of them. None of them. And so my thing is to begin to find out who am I, what is my mission, what is my purpose, and try to stay on point, on track.
and I always kind of believe myself, like the reason why the birthday number should be used in a lot of cases is because when we look at that destiny number, as you said, is what we are here to learn. So a lot of the traits in that destiny number, just because you have the potential for those traits, it does not mean that you have developed them yet, because you're still developing over time. And as you said, it could be a little bit later in life when you develop those traits, but you know with that birthday number that this is you in the here and in the now. So I'm going to ask you a few questions because I always wanted to know. I said the Q word again. Okay. I always wanted to know, like, the day in the life of a master astronumerologist. Like, what is your day like? So I'm going to ask you some questions, and you know me, these first few questions are going to sound a little funny to you, but I'm going to ask them anyway,
Go right
just to
ahead.
see if you can answer or will answer, because you may not answer it. First question: what is the first number you see every day when you wake up?
Normally, the number I see primarily are 7s and 4s.
No, I mean, is it your phone? Is it your clock? Is
Oh,
it
oh,
what
oh,
numbers do you see first?
oh. Well, normally I will look and open my phone, and then the numbers are right there. You know, um, that's the first thing I'll see, and then from there I'll start. And I notice because there's a certain rhythm that I do, which is I always do my meditation, and then there are other rituals I do in the morning to get my thing started. I normally wake up at a certain time of day, which is early morning. And the reason why I start early with meditation, because I live in New York City. There's always some siren, some police siren, something. There's always something going on, sanitation trucks, you name it. So I try to beat the city ahead before they wake up and do their thing in the day. And so I'm curious sometime about the time that I do my meditation. At first, when I started, it was just a small amount of time, but I've been doing it so long, it goes to 50 minutes, sometimes even over an hour. Um, but it is a time where I can kind of center myself, and then I'll do my exercises. There are certain rites that I do. They all have numbers according to them. There are other exercises I do. They have numbers assigned to them. There are push-ups that I do that has numbers assigned to them as well. And so this is how I start my day, with the number count. But I'm always in the numbers. I can't help it. But then again, the world is full of numbers. You can't do anything without numbers. Most people will check to see what they got a text. Well, those texts are actually, you punch those letters in, but each letter has a number assigned to it. You know what I'm saying? So there's no way you can get around this thing. And that's what intrigued me. And I thought that I would retire, but the reality check is I'll never retire, because as long as human beings walk the earth, there's always going to be somebody born on some day, some month, some year, and I therefore have their number.
It's really, really peaceful for me. And I don't do it as much as I used to, but sometimes I like to get up and don't look at any clock or any phone or anything for, until I just like get in the flow of the day or whatever. And it's kind of like peaceful, because you're not checking that time, not checking it. So the question next is, what about your opposition numbers? Does those stand out? I know you said you see the 7 and the 4 a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and we clearly know that the 7 is one of your numbers. But when it comes to your opposition numbers, are you on the lookout for those as well?
Well, I first started, but now that I've been doing whatever I do, I had an incident not too long ago, and it happened on one of my opposition days, you know. And had I been conscious, because I'm human, you know what I mean? I'm human just like everybody else. But I don't fear my oppositional periods or days, dates, or months. I understand them, because just as we have highs, we have lows. So just because a number is supposedly in opposition doesn't mean that it is. I think the most popular oppositions is 9 and a 2 and a 6 and a 4. Well, I do a 6 and a 4 example. So, like if you look at Michael Jackson's father, Joe Jackson, he was born on an 8 and their mother was born on a 4. And yet they raised the most successful, most famous team of youngsters that grew into adulthood, that to Michael Jackson, who ultimately sold billions of dollars. Then you have Nick Ashford and Valerie Simpson, the famous writing duo of Motown, all the famous hits that came up Motown in the 60s and 70s. She was born on an 8. He was born on a 4, but regardless, yes, we all have what are called oppositional challenging numbers. But to me, the more you are aware of them, the less of a challenge they become. You know what it's like? Here's the example I give. Let's say you're in the dark and you got punches coming at you all kind of ways and you can't see nothing how they coming. Then somebody turns on a light switch, which we call knowledge. At least you can see. At least you can duck. You might get hit, but you ain't gonna get hit a whole lot of times, okay? So if you look at it in that way, it's just turn on the light of knowledge to see, okay, just as these are my good numbers, these are my challenging numbers. It's not that you go through a paranoid thing about it. Um, it's just that you have that understanding. Um, I have this Apple Star 8 app that I developed. And one day I lost a project, and another person I talked to, my dear friend, says, well, do you see what your app is? I had 2 red star days. I'm saying I didn't even look at my own app, because there are days that are good for us and days that are not good for us. And it's just amazing. And once you know, you can be in lockstep. It saves you a lot of wear and tear on your mind, your body, your spirit, your pocketbook. You know what I'm saying? And it's a nice feeling to say you were right on time. But most people are saying, man, they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. So that's when I came with this philosophy. Well, what about being in the right place at the right time, in harmony with the universe? Animals do it. Fish know when to swim upstream. Birds know when to fly to Capistrano. Herds know when to migrate from north to south and vice versa. What kind of clock are they going by? And we are man, the most highest form of God's intelligence, and we need a clock to look at everything we do, which I think is interesting. But I'm to the point where I can get up in the morning and almost tell you what time it is and be within 10 minutes of it. So I really don't have to look at the clock. I can say it might be 5:30 and it'd be maybe 5:20 or 5:40 or something, but I'm always somewhere in dart range.
Wow, that makes me think about something else too. I know I do it as an astro-numerologist. Do you feel like whenever something occurs in life, do you feel like you're always analyzing the numbers behind it?
You know, that's a good question. I ain't gonna lie to you. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. First of all, I'm nosy. Or I should say I'm curious, okay? It's like, what? All right. So when something happens, I'm always curious as what were the conditions of things? What was the cycle? What was the cycle they were in? Especially things that are more, shall we say, challenging or tragic. Those seem to be the headliners. You know what they said? If it bleeds, it leads. That kind of thing. The newspapers come up with this saying. And so, but even when the good things happen, I'm looking to see what kind of cycles, because we all have highs and lows. And what I look for is if something challenging happened, were there challenging days, challenging months? Now, people have asked me, speaking of that, Lloyd, do you know when I'm going to die? My answer is always no. And I would tell any student, whether you know the science of numerology, astrology, both the tarot, I don't think, well, people are funny. Let's say if I told a person, well, listen, you got 3 months to live and you need to sell all your worldly possessions. 6 months later, they still walking the planet. In the ninth month, I'm going to get a call from their lawyer with a lawsuit, okay? And I think that the Most High has enough decisions to make about who ain't going to get up in the morning without me getting in his lane too. So I just stay out of his lane. And my answer is always no. But I know this, no one leaves this planet alive. No one. That is guaranteed. I just don't know when, but I can tell you your cautionary days, your cautionary months, your cautionary years, your cautionary ages, and thus you act accordingly. I can't hold a person's hand. There are too many people walking around, but you can guide them as to what is possible and what may be challenging at times, because we have highs and lows. It's like the sun don't come out every day. Some days are going to be cloudy, overcast, stormy, blizzards. That's how life goes at times too. I like sunny days for the most part, though.
Yeah, but sometimes you may get some rain, so you gotta learn how to deal with both
Oh
of
yeah,
them.
I've gotten all kind of weather in my life, so it happens.
So when you see the 7 and the 4, you said that these are two numbers that you see often.
Hmm.
When you see these numbers, does these numbers have a special message or meaning for you? Like when you see it, is it a no? Is it a yes? Or is there something that some kind of secret between you and your higher self or you and the universe know about every time you see those numbers? Or do you have numbers that you see that you know definitely have a message with them?
The number that I see often from a 7 is 1204. 1204. And it's very interesting because one of my best presentations when I was in the corporate world was on December the 4th. Now that I think about it, just now. So while I see these numbers, But in my book, Numbers in You, I have a chapter toward the back of the 400-page book called Numerology and Thought Readings. So let's say I'm looking at a number, and the number is 1204, and I'm thinking about that number. Well, because it adds up to an odd number, the answer would be yes is the answer to the question. Okay. Then if I look up 822, that would be a 12 or 3, which would be yes is the answer also to that question. The number, since it's a 7, means it could be a Pisces or Cancer, or somebody born on the 2nd, the 7th, the 11th, the 16th, the 20th, 25th, or 29th of the month. In the case of 822, which adds up to a 3, it could be whereby the person could either be a Sagittarius or Pisces, or born on the 3rd, the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th of the month. Subconsciously, it means if I'm looking at the 1204, subconsciously, it means I need to find some space for myself. I need to go away where I can hear myself think. I need to reflect. Consciously, I want to question and analyze the thing that's going on around me. All right. So if it was a 3, it means I want to expand subconsciously. Maybe I want to expand, and maybe I want to work on a new and improved way of making my life better and broaden my social contacts. Okay. Consciously, it means I should think in terms of expansion, getting my talents out there, bringing my wares to market and stuff like that. So there's a lot of meanings with these numbers symbolically.
Let me tell you what I see with the 1204. When you look at the 1204, it's really the sun number and the moon numbers. You have the 1, the 2, and you have the 4. The only thing that's missing is the 7, but when you add 1204 together, you have the 7. So those are all of your numbers.
Mm-hmm. And what's interesting, if you were to go to my YouTube channel and look at my symbol, you will see the 7, 2, 4, and 1. I have them in Roman numerals, though, because people forget about reading Roman numerals.
That's where you lost me. Okay. I need regular numbers.
Yeah, no, I can't do no 7, no 2, no 4, 1. No. I gotta pick them in Roman numerals, okay?
Don't give me no numerals. Give me some numbers.
But
Okay,
everything
so
is symbolic. Everything is symbolic we do.
we had so much fun picking with you. So what we're gonna do now is I know everybody is like waiting to find out how can they find out what days, what dates, I mean um what dates are best for them
Hmm.
every day to do the things that they need to do from 1 to 9. So I'm going to ask you if you can please share that with us.
Okay. And I'll do it by breaking all the numbers down from 1 to 9 and the signs associated with the numbers. There are going to be 2 ways of looking at this, folks. If you add your month, your day, and year of birth, whatever that single number is, that's the long range number. If you go just to your date of birth, that is the immediate or short range number. So if you got somebody born on the 15th, 1 plus 5 is 6. So I know right there. But if their month, day, and year they're born adds up to a 6, it means over the long range, it's about being of service. It's always being a work in progress. But see, you learn that over a period of time. That's where the destiny comes in. It's like being on the Amtrak and you got to go all the way across the country. But people want to know what's going on right now. That's what that taught me coming up in New York City, because I was always into the destiny number, the month, the day, and the year. Yeah, this. Yeah, and what does it mean? But the date of birth is more affecting them immediately. So I'll start with number 1s. If a person's birthday is on the 1st, the 10th, the 19th, or the 28th of the month, or if they come under the signs of Leo, Aquarius, in a minor way, Aries, the planet that governs your number is always the sun. The best day that rules your energies is always on a Sunday, for which the sun is named after the planet of the sun. It also indicates that the most powerful times for number 1s to do anything worth their while is always in the months of February, followed by April, followed by August, more than at any other time. They'll also find that the more challenging times is normally on a Saturday, and therefore a number 8, and therefore the months of January more than in any other time. Now, let's say you got somebody born on the 2nd, the 11th, the 20th, or the 29th of the month, or the end of the sign of Cancer. Well, your planetary ruler is the moon. And it also indicates your best day is Monday, for which Monday got its name, which is from the moon. Okay? It also indicates people who are sensitive, receptive, psychic and intuitive, artistic, creative, and romantic. It also indicates the most challenging number to this number is the number 9, which means the most challenging day is Tuesday. But by the way, for the best months for number 2s, it would always be the months of March, May, particularly July. Okay? And so getting to the challenging number, that would be 9, and Tuesday would be the challenging day, and April and November would be their challenging times of the year. Now, let's say you have somebody born on the 3rd, the 12th, the 21st, or the 30th of the month, or if they come under the signs of Sagittarius or Pisces. Their planetary ruler is Jupiter. And if you go to an astrologer, it's always going to look to see where your Jupiter is placed, because that's where your blessings come in. What house is it sitting in? What planet is ruling this? Is it in Leo? Is your Jupiter in Leo, for example? That's magnanimous, things like that. Is it in Capricorn, which is more business? But it also indicates those times of the years that you're likely to find your success. So in this example, if Jupiter is in an air sign, it means during the air periods of the year is normally when you find your blessings. So if Jupiter is in Leo, it means during the fire periods of Aries and Leo and Sagittarius, that's when they find their blessings. But anyway, getting back to that. But the planetary ruler is Jupiter. His planetary day is a Thursday, okay? And also you'll find that they tend to do well during the months of March, May, October, and December. Those would be their best months. As far as the challenging month is concerned, the challenging number is the number 5. Thus, Wednesday is their more challenging day. And the more challenging months would always be somewhere around June or September. Now, what about number 4? If a person's born on the 4th, the 13th, the 22nd, or the 31st of the month, or if they come under the signs of Aquarius primarily, Leo, and in a minor way, Gemini, well, their planetary ruler is Uranus, okay? This is the planet of unpredictability, which is a hallmark of number 4. You tell them to go left, they're going to go right. You tell them to do this, they just can't help themselves. God bless their souls. They got issues. Anyway, and so their best day is always on a Sunday, and all dates that add up to the 4. And their best months, again, normally is in February, June, and August primarily. And in a minor way, sometimes September, but it's more February, June, and August. The planetary antagonist to the number 4, though, is the number 6, okay? And thus, the planetary aspect is a Friday. And when I had my incident, it was on a Friday, and I should have known better. Yes, I should have. But no, I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? So anyway, that's another story for another time. Think about this showing about that kind of conversation. But the point is that the stress periods for the number 4 is always in and around January, May, and October. Okay. Now, if you look at the number 5, people born on the 5th, the 14th, or the 23rd of the month, or if they come under the sign of Gemini or Virgo, the planetary ruler is Mercury. It is Wednesday, which they call mercredi in French, I think, for Wednesday. It's planetary. Its best days are not only just Wednesday, but Friday is complete, and their best months are always in the months of June and September. The antagonistic number to the number 5 is the number 3, followed by the number 8. Thus, Thursday and Saturdays are normally their challenging times of the year. And all days that add up to a 3 or an 8, like the 12th or the 26th. And their challenging months normally comes in and around the months of January, March, and December at more than any other time. Now, let's say we go to the number 7. Do we do 6? Yes. No, we didn't do 6 yet. Can't leave them out. So if you're born on the 6th, the 15th, or the 24th of the month, or if you're under the signs of Libra or Taurus, your planetary ruler is Venus. Your planetary day that rules it is always on a Friday. And it's no accident that if you go across this country, the most times for people who don't marry in a church but at City Hall is always on a Friday. That is if you go to your local City Hall and you ask them what day is the most busiest day for people getting married or getting their marriage certificate, it's on a Friday, but it rules by Venus, which is the love planet. Okay. And so they rule, so their best months is always in May and October primarily. Their best day is always on a Friday, as I mentioned, but the antagonistic number is always the number 4, which means Sunday. Is it because just recently we had a Friday the 13th. Well, that 1 plus 3 is 4 fell on a Friday, so it's always considered a superstitious day. But it's equally in the reverse that if it's like February the 6th, February the 13th, because it's just the reverse of it, or I should say Sunday the 6th, Sunday the 15th, because Sunday is ruled by the number 4. Okay. But anyway, these would be the stressful numbers to them, as well as February, followed by August, would be the challenging parts to the number 6. Number 7, person born on the 7th, the 16th, the 25th, or under the sign of Cancer, primarily Pisces in a minor way. Well, they would be ruled by the moon for Cancer, Neptune for the 7. Okay. And so therefore, both these planets are water planets. Both these planets are into their feelings. Both these planets are very much into intuitions. But to the negative, it could rule illusions and whatnot. But it's so interesting that 7 would be assigned to Pisces, because Pisces is the only of the 12 signs that's called the psychic planet of all of them. Okay. So their best day is always on a Monday, and their best months is always in and around the months of March, followed by May and July, primarily July though. And to the opposite, it would be the number 8, which means Saturday. It also means the stress month would be January primarily, because what's so interesting, because since it is in the sign of Cancer, which rules the 7 also, well, the opposition sign to Cancer is Capricorn, which is January, which is governed by the number 8. So all of these things tie in. That's what got me so captivated, because they're all connected. They're all connected, like blood, like family. The number 8. Those who are born on the 8th, the 17th, or the 26th, or if you're under the sign of Capricorn, well, you are ruled by the planet of Saturn, the planet of Father Time, the planet of history, the planet of misunderstandings. It is also governing Saturday is your best day, for which the day Saturn comes from Saturn. That's how it is. And so therefore, your best months would always be in January, but you would always have your exaltation in the month of May with it, because Saturn has its exaltation in Venus, so Venus has its exaltation. These are all astrological rules that go on with that. And these would be the best times. So it's really for a number 8, which would be March, May, July, primarily to do that. Their stress numbers is the 5 and the 4. Actually, I think 4 comes in front of the 5, but that way it's either Sunday or Wednesday, because 4 rules Sunday, 5 rules Wednesday. And it tells me the challenging days for the number 8 would always be somewhere in and around February, June, August, and September. These would be some of the challenging periods for the number 8. And finally, if a person is born on the 9th, the 18th, or the 27th, of the end of the sign of Aries, Scorpio, in a minor way, Leo, their planetary ruler is Mars. Now, that's the fighting planet. Now, this is very important, because we are about to enter the year of the 9, 2025, when you add those 4 numbers, add across to 9. So Mars is going to be smelling itself. Mars is going to be feeling the oats. Mars is going to be out there. And so since Mars is a very assertive planet, and Aries that governs it primarily is an assertive sign, a lot of people are going to insert themselves. You know, it's like a guy walking in a bar. He's all meek, mild, and manny. He has a couple of drinks and think he can beat everybody up in the joint. Okay, so so people are going to be feeling that way. People are just going to be really thinking that they can do more than what they can really do. But it's a mindset. It's the way the energy is working. And they have to be a little bit mindful. Okay. So what does that mean for number 9? Well, Tuesday is your best day out of 7. You'll find that your best months is always in the months of April, followed by August in a minor way, and November as your best months. And to the opposite side of that equation, your most challenging number is the number 2. So that means Monday is your most challenging days. And it don't mean you hide under a rock, but I wouldn't sign a contract on a Monday, not for number 9 or an Aries or Scorpio or Leo. No. Or, you know, this is why God has given to each of these numbers a period where you can do what you need to do, where things go your way. And so it means not only Monday, but it also means the month of July would be a very challenging time for number 9 people. So all these numbers have a place to be. They have a place where they shouldn't be. And if you know that, you know, it just makes your life easier. That's all it does. Everything is not going to be 100%. Nothing is 100% other than death and taxes. But basically, over and above that, you can be in alignment. And just because you hear numbers that supposedly are not your numbers, if you embrace it, you know, because people now ask me, well, Lloyd, do you have a stress number? No. Yes, I do. But I'm not in a panic mode about it. I know that around those periods that rule those days, dates, and months, to just use a little bit more common sense, to not be as bold or daring or audacious with things like that, and act accordingly. That's all.
I would just like to add to that, in case you were not taking notes. I hope you were taking notes, but in case you were not taking notes, you can get all of this information about your birthday with the Star 8 mobile numerology app. You can download that app on the Google, the App Store, Google Play, or you can go to a star 8, ASTAR, the number 8.com. And I know you heard him talk about earlier the stars that are on the calendar. You get a personal calendar, and on that calendar, it tells you for each day whether that's going to be a favorable day. If it's going to be a favorable day, you'll see green stars on your calendar. And if it's a day of caution, you will see the red stars on the calendar. And I just want to ask you, now that the audience has this information about what their favorable days are and the non-favorable days or months are, what do they do on their favorable days and what shouldn't they do on their non-favorable days or do in caution?
Well, on their favorable days, they should act with confidence, courage, and intention. You know, it's what we put. If you're looking for success, you'll find success. So these will be your best days, best dates and months to do it. And when I say ages too, like for number 1, when they're age 1 and 10 and 19 and 28 and 37 and 46 and 55 and 64 and 73. In other words, all those ages add up to a number 1. Those will be significant for them. And ages number 2 from 2nd to 11th to 20th to 29th, the 38th, the 47th, the 56th, the 65, you name it. So you look for your ages to match those two. So it allows you to get things done with less stress, wear, challenges, and makes your life easier. On the reverse side, it's not that you can't do anything, but let's say you got a very important interview, but you know it's not your best day. Leave early or stay up and prepare for the interview, or rehearse it in your mind or see it on a mental screen of your mind. because there is some famous person I know that does manifest on purpose who shall be nameless at this point, that teaches about the way you think about things is how things manifest. And it is true that how we think, it becomes a reality. And, the elders used to say, you find what you're looking for. So if you're looking for trouble, you're going to find trouble. Okay. It's those kind of things that our elders, our ancestors would say that still fits this 21st century that we live in. And so it's not that you can't get anything done, but be prepared. But if, and I tell a person, if you're going to go to an interview and don't think you're going to get it, don't go. Because your body's going to send to that interview all the things that this man don't want this job. This woman don't want this job. They just here. But if you go with the attitude that I'm claiming this is my job. I want this job. Everybody, y'all better get out the way because there's a new sheriff up in this office here. Okay. That is what's going to make the difference. Now, they may get it. They may not. But the point is, they're going with that attitude on these so-called challenging or low points, that they have a higher than average chance. So imagine when the tide is in their favor in having that attitude. So it's the attitude and the intentions that we have, that we do. Nobody escapes times of it. And maybe that's God's way of seeing how you make your battle. Because if everything was so easy, people wouldn't have to worry about nothing. But God normally tests diligence and whatnot. And for people who have been out there and struggled and whatnot, they will test you. Although people will see you on the other side and it all looks nice and successful. But if people had to look at the origin of how they started and what they had to go through, a lot of people would be discouraged, saying, I don't need to go through that. And so their life just goes unnoticed, so to speak.
I think for me today, astro-numerology has revealed that life is all about alignment. I feel that, and two, just like you said, too, it has a whole lot, almost everything to do with your mindset as well.
Mm-hmm.
But alignment is key since we have these sciences to help guide us. And I think that's what it's basically is guidance to help us out on the journey,
Mm-hmm.
on that destiny that we're talking about from the beginning to the end. If we use these sciences, it can be sort of like a cheat code to us to help us get to the next level, to help us grow. And sometimes it can be protection, and it can help us really gain success in our everyday life. So I feel like people should know their numerology and even their astrology and start to do like you do and apply them in everything, because you started naming things even with the exercises and stuff. You're numbering things,
Yeah, I
and
do. My
that's
whole
the
world is
mindset.
numbers. My whole world is numbers. But
Wow.
to people, their world of numbers too, but they don't see it in that way. I got to make a call. I got to see who called me. I got to make this appointment. I got to, go check my bank account. Something but we'll all look. I just happen to look at mine in a more spiritual, metaphysical way. And it's amazing what it reveals.
So that was the next question I was going to ask you. What does astronumerology reveal for you today?
Well, it reveals for me how much I love this. That coming up as a youngster had somebody say, and I was the worst math student in school. Okay. I got a lot of D's, not for a dummy, but dynamic. See, those was my interpretations. It's attitude. When I got D's, I'm a dynamic brother. Okay. You got to psych yourself. And what they call it, fake it till you make it. So, but if somebody said, Lloyd, one day you'd be on every national television show on the planet. You'd have a successful radio show for over 20 years. You'd have a successful column in the newspaper that spanned 20 years. You'd write 6 books. You'd have 8,000 students around the world presently on all 7 continents taking your online course, How to Learn from Lloyd series. You'd have an app. You'd do this and that. I do a successful newsletter. My audiobook is available on Spreaker and audiobooks and whatnot. I just said, yeah, get out of here. But it has happened, but it took a while to do this. So what I'm saying is we all have a passion. I was just lucky to find something I love and stick with it. But a lot of times we find something, and as soon as we come to the first hurdle, the first roadblock, we want to switch up. And so for me, as I told my kids and people, that when I went forward, I burned my bridges behind me. I had no choice but to go forward. No choice. I didn't come back with no excuses, although sometimes I did question my sanity. Lord, you should have kept that job with all them perks and vacation time and with the BS on it too. Okay, with the people up in there, I should have kept that. But there was something that was either in my spirit or the Most High or my parents or whatever, that I stuck it out, and boy, was it worth it. It was so much worth it. And today, one of my greatest pleasures is getting in people's business. It's like, what? Okay.
Are you kidding me? I
That's
should
it.
never get that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I have issues. See, I know I need some therapy. I have issues,
And
but
I
they're
just
nice
want to say to
issues.
everybody, I just want to say to everybody, what you just said, that list of accomplished, please don't let that go over your head, because we know that Lord is so modest. He rarely mentions things like that. So please don't
Yeah.
let those things go over your head. And we celebrate you today. Oh, and this is something different.
Yes, this
Starting
is, I've started
2025.
with a very good colleague of mine, the Power Series, where each month, because sometimes they've got these shadow bands and you can't say this, that, and the other. Well, the Power Series will allow me to stretch out, and each and every month there will be a specific piece on the part of the metaphysical world. We open up with the powers of the numerical cycle because we start in the first year. Everybody around January want to know, okay, now to see what's up for me. What's my personal year? Well, I'm going to show you how to find your personal year, your personal month, your personal weeks, your personal days, and also tell you during this lecture how to find the months for relationships, the months for money, the months for health, and the months for travel. Show you how to find that. And then in February, the next Power Series is going to be on relationships. It's going to be Valentine weeks about girlfriend, boyfriend, but it's more than just boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, and wife. Why we get along better with one neighbor than another? Why we get along better with one family member than another? And things like that. And then week number 3, I'm just going to give up the first for January, February, and March is going to be the power of precious metals. Talking about gold and silver. And a lot of people don't know that silver in and of itself has 10,000 uses, and some of it medicinal. Okay. I've had a show, and when I talked about that, that was the only show of the 300 shows I did that was taken off the air. But it is a fact. And so these will allow me, and then in April is going to be health, and then it's going to be the power of the manifest on purpose, how to manifest things. Then we're going to be talking about money. We're going to be talking about, so each month is going to be an interesting topic. And all you got to do is click on that QR code there at the bottom right to sign up for the courses. And I'm working on now outlining all the other features for each of the Power Series from all the way from January to the end of December.
And I think this is interesting, especially after our conversation today, when we talked about using our birthdays to help us in our everyday life. This is a continuation of that. So if you're somebody that is interested in taking classes, these are lectures. So these
Mm-hmm.
are things that you can sit down for a couple of hours and learn, and it's not something that you're going to be in for, like, you're committed to. If there's one that you like, you can very much join it. But to go along with your birthday, you also need to know your cycles. This can help you as well. And that's what this first Power Series is going to be about. Please support it. And I promise you, you will not be disappointed.
And let me say this too. This power series isn't just about understanding your cycles, but the cycles of a loved one, a child, a family member, a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever the case is. Because then in February, the following month, I'm going to be doing a series on how to be a professional numerologist. You know, when I first wrote my book about 40 some years ago, I explained that this will never go out of style, that you can go all over the world with this. And to prove the case now, if you go to my link tree, Numbers in You, and go to the Udemy courses that I have over 8,000 students around the world in different languages. But I want to teach you how to do this. And in fact, in the summer course, the very first course I had this past summer, one of the students it lives in Thailand. You know what I'm saying? Another lives in Mexico. So it's so no matter where you go, and no, you don't need to get an interpreter now. I said at that time you need an interpreter, but fast forward to this technology now, you're talking to the phone, and it'll translate to the person you're speaking to in their language, and it'll translate it back. So you can go literally all over the planet learning this craft, how to do this as a professional, as a career. There's always going to be people that walk the planet, so you'll never go out of business. Never, never. You'll never be unemployed. Now, this one is going to be in April. You know, I kind of didn't tell all of it, but I'm going to tell you now. Over and above numerology, my first love, astrology, my third and most important love is palmistry. The hands tell more than you can do. The hand is designed to hold, caress, to defend, to protect, to caress. I mean, the hand serves so many purposes, to tie your shoes. There's so many things we don't even think about. We'll think about something, we'll scratch our ear, whatever the case is. But the hand holds a lot of information that tells you everything about the mentality of the person, called the headline, mentally, how you relate emotionally, which is a heart line, and how well you keep your body in check, which is your lifeline. And then there's your sun line that's going to bring you fame and notoriety, or is it going to be your destiny line that's going to have you go up the road of life in a very active and constructive way? Then there's the lines of relationships that tell you how many times you might marry and what age you will have them. Then there's the lines of children that will tell you how many boys and how many girls you're going to have. This is a whole lot more. And then with this course, I'm also going to have the hands of famous celebrities. You know what I'm saying? Some have been in the news. A whole lot have been in the news lately. I'm going to have those hands up in there too. Politicians, officials, personalities. It's
I
going to
don't
be
know if
really
we want
interesting.
all those hands up in there.
Well, you need to kind of see them. You know what I'm saying? You can look. But, and see, and this is very important, especially because we are now in a world where there's just superficial appearance. So if we think a woman is very attractive, oh boy, that's great. If we think a guy's tall and handsome and lean, oh boy, that's great. But if you look at those hands and look at those lines in that hand, that will tell you a whole lot. And there's been many stories that we've seen in real life, that we've seen on TV or whatever the case is, where everything looked good in the beginning, and then it turned out to be a monster experience in the end. And by looking at a person's hand, you can tell right away. And especially I'm going to talk about that headline and the heart line, because the heart line, there's normal positions where it should start and normal positions where it should end. It's going to be, I'm going to tell you right now, whoever's on the other end of that reception, they're going to be always under being in demand. I'm going to explain all this stuff. I'm going to make it real easy. You
You
know what
don't
I'm
play
saying?
when it comes to that headline.
No, no, no. Because see, the headline denotes your mentality. It's like your moon. It's almost equivalent to your moon. You don't know how the person is thinking. You know, we see the astrology sign, which is the personality that we project. We see the rising sign, which is how we appear before people visually. But it's the moon that shows what's going on inside of your head. Well, that's what's happening with the heart line. And the heart line rules the mental affections. And don't forget, on January the 1st, I'm in attendance. I'm going to be sitting in the front row seat on Wednesday, January the 1st, for this vision board mastery class. And I want to learn the power of visualization. I want to learn those visualization tips. I want to learn how to create my own visual board. I already got my scissors, and I started to say pliers, but I got my tape and all that stuff. I'm ready. I'm ready for you. Okay. The interactive and guided meditation. And actually, you listen to her meditations as I've done, her manifest on purposes, her astro-numerology reveals, her abundance Thursday. I'm very partial to her, but if you listen, you would be partial to her too. So I'm just giving props where props is due. So you should all click on that QR code. And I like to see her because in my courses, as well as her courses, seating is going to be limited. First come, first serve.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Wow, you did it all for me.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you. So proud of you.
Thank you. I mean, you wouldn't plug mine, so they give you a chance to plug yours. But I'm serious. I mean, now here's what I'm saying. I know this, sister, okay? But I enrolled in the course, and I'm saying that to say that it ain't like, well, we tight, we good friends, we comrades, and we work on projects. Won't you give me a break? No, I paid for my course, and I want y'all to pay for your course too. I want to be sitting right in the front row, and I want some of y'all sitting right next to me too, so I can look and see what you're doing on your board too.
I'm being nosy again.
I
Going back.
told you I had issues.
Yeah, I see. I see. We had to make sure you're at the front of the class, looking at everybody's board.
Yeah, instead of looking at mine, right?
Instead of looking at your own board, let's hope your board is finished by the end of the class. Your homework is going to be extra hard. The thing about this vision board mastery class is it's different because a lot of people don't understand. They may look at it as if it's just a vision board class. You're like a craft project. No, this is not a craft project. This project, from the moment that you enter until the moment you leave, everything that you do is going to be intentional, so that you are setting these intentions and you are doing things like speaking them into existence. You're making sure you have the right intention behind the pictures that you pick. You're not going to just pick a picture because it's a random picture. You're going to have to be into the energy of whatever that it is that you want. And I'm going to teach you why this is not just an ordinary craft project. And what I want to say is thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom with us as always. It will forever be appreciative for it and grateful for it. I'm hoping that everybody was able to learn something today. I'm hoping that this will change your lives so that you can move on to start aligning with success in your life and aligning with manifestation in your life. So make sure that you pay attention to this and download that app so that can also be your guidance. If you need to get a numerology consultation, reach out to one of us. If you need a report, reach out to one of us. It's what's your favorite line? There's no
There's
it
no,
cannot
no,
be said.
yeah,
Just say it.
no promotion is bad promotion.
No. Your favorite line. It cannot be said that we
Excuse me,
didn't.
excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. It can't be said we did not have this conversation, okay? That's all I'm saying. It can't be
Yeah,
said we did not have this conversation.
because at the end of the day, all we really want is for you all to win. So thank you for joining
That's not much to ask for
Astro-Numerology.
either, for wanting people to win.
Huh?
I said that's not much to ask for to want people to win. We all should be about wanting to have a desire to win. You know what
No.
I'm saying? And before I go, I must say, Miss Kimbaley, I'm so impressed. You never run out of questions. I don't know how you do it. I need to see that book you got, okay, one day. So you need to send me some copies or something. But the
It's
questions
still
was
some
very on
questions up
time.
here. It's still
Huh?
some questions in my book. So I'll just save them for the next video. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.